we're still looking at this question here. Question 10. Okay, we've seen the returns of two companies, A and B, and we've calculated the expected return for both companies. Okay, company A expected return was 10%. Company B expected return 12.75%. Now we're going to part 2 of the question here, where we calculate the risk or the standard deviation. Okay, risk in this sense is just how far your actual return differs from your expected return. Okay, because even though you have been given expected return for these two companies, it doesn't mean that if you invest in them you're going to get those actual returns, those expected returns which you have calculated. They might differ because, as I said, the financial markets and the economy are ever changing. Okay, so you might invest in company A expecting a return of 10%, but then you find your return is actually 5%. Okay, or you might invest in company B, you expect to get a return of 12.75%, and you find in actuality you get a return of 20%. Okay, so we have to find this standard deviation, so at least we can have an idea of the range where we're going to be at. Okay, so we're going to, I'll get for company A, then you calculate for company B. Yes, Madam Kalinda, I saw your hand was up. Did you have a question?
No, it was a mistake.
Okay. So, colleagues, this is how we calculate the standard deviation. Okay. This information here, we've already calculated it. We've got our expected return. Now I want to calculate our standard deviation. Okay, so basically the standard deviation is the probability multiplied of the square root the summation of the probability multiplied by the return minus expected return squared. Okay, this is how we're finding this standard deviation. Okay, each return we're going to subtract it from the expected return, then we square it, and after that we multiply it by the probability. Okay, so this formula I'm just doing it here in table format. Okay, if you're not comfortable with table format, you can just use the actual formula here. Okay, so if we come to the state of economy for the book,
sorry, if I ask, how do you find return? Because what we calculated was expected.
The returns they're given to you, sir.
Fuck.
Have you seen in the question here? Return on A, return on B. The returns will be given to you. Okay. Yes. So we start with for the economy in a boom. right? The return is 0.2. We're subtracting it from the expected return. This is the expected return here. This is 0.1. Put it as ER, expected return. Okay, so you're going to say 0.2 minus 0.1, you get 0.1. Then you square it. 0.1 squared, it's those with calculators. 0.1 squared, what do we get?
0.01.
0.01. Okay, then after you square it, you multiply it with the probability. So the probability is 0.15. So you're going to say 0.15 multiplied by 0.01. What do we get?
For me, it's giving me a power. What?
How many?
5 times 10 to the power negative 3.
So it means there are 3 zeros in front of that number. So 0.00. What number comes next?
15. 0.0015.
I have to add another 0 here because I'm getting. So that negative,
Yeah.
yes, 0.0015. So that negative 3 is just representing these zeros in front of the number. If you get a power like that. Okay, because in the exam I know it's not nice to get those powers. Okay, any questions before we go to the growth state? Okay, for growth, return 0.1 minus expected return 0.1, you get 0. Zero squared is 0. 0 times the probability of 0.25 is 0. Yes?
Sorry, this table, we always have to make this table when finding standard deviation before findings when trying to find standard deviation.
No. You can just use the formula by itself. Colleagues, are we comfortable with the table? I just use the formula as it is there. Usually people like tables, so let me find out. You know, it's not always that you must make this table.
The table is just okay, it's fine.
Okay. Normal return 0.15 minus expected return 0.1. Let me even be putting the answers here. So it is 0.15 minus 0.1, you get 0.05. 0.05 squared Yes, 0.05 squared, what do we get? We get 0 here. Yes, anyone with a calculator? 0.05 squared. Now let me calculate it. 0.0025. Okay, then we multiply it by the probability 0.2 multiplied by 0.0025. Oh, let me just get some bundles, colleagues. Let me just get some bundles. Just reshare the screen. It's kicked out by network. Are you able to get me, and are you able to see the screen? Are you able to get me? On the screen, are you able to see it?
Loud and clear, sir. My body fit.
Okay. So I was just here where I was cut off. It was here where we were saying multiplying the probability multiplied by the square of this return minus expected return. So we're saying 0.2, which is the probability, minus, not minus, multiplied by 0.0025. 2 times 0.0025. .005. Okay, then for the recession, return 0.05 minus expected return 0.1, so 0.05 minus 0.1, we get negative 0.05. Okay, then we square this negative 0.05. Okay, when we square this negative 0.05, we get again 0.025. Then we multiply it now with the probability. Okay, so we're going to say 0.3 multiplied by 0.025. 0.3 multiplied by 0.0025. Get 0.00075. It has to be 3 zeros here. Okay. And after we multiply the probabilities by each of these numbers, we just total them up. Okay, so we're going to say 0.00015 plus 0 plus 0.005 plus 0.00075. Okay, we add all of these together. When we add them, we get 0.0014. Okay, so the standard deviation, okay, because we've just done this part here only, we haven't, so need to get the square root now. Okay. The table is just highlighting this part of the formula. Okay, the standard deviation, we get the square root. Okay, so it says square root of 0.0014. Colleagues, square root of 0.0014, let's see. Square root of 0.0014. Zero point 0.037. Okay, so the standard deviation is like 3.7%, meaning your profits might not be that far from your actual profit. Think of it like a number line like this. Okay, we said our average return is 10%. Okay, or expected return for company A is 10%, and we have a standard deviation of 3.7%. So I can say 3.7 plus 10 you get here 13.7%. 10 minus 3.7, 6.3. Okay, so when you invest in this company, this is the range you can expect your returns to be. Okay, this is the range you can expect your returns to be. Okay, you might make you might get a 7% return, you might get a 12% return, you might get a 13% return, you might get an 8% return, you might get the actual 10%, but it's just giving you like a range where you can where you expect your returns to be at. Okay, that's what the standard deviation is kind of guiding us with. It's just giving us a range where we can expect our returns to be, because it's not always that if you invest in company A you're going to get 10% return. It might be lower, it might be high. Okay, but as we can see, the returns are not really that far from the expected return. Okay, so the lower the standard deviation, the better. Okay, because it's just telling you that the returns you might get, they're not going to be far from the expected return that you calculated. They will be nearby that expected return. Any questions?